Got it. And now we want to just make sure. All right, so we're live.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
I can barely hear it.
Wait, I just realized they're gonna copyright us or something, right?
Yeah. So just kind of.
Shit.
Huh.
She blinded me with science.
Yes.
That's a different song.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
So why do you want to talk about weird science? It's a little weird that you want to talk about weird science.
The real question is, why wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Why wouldn't you? But why do you?
Why? Because I was watching.
Why do you want to do it now?
Because I was watching it the other day with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a John Hughes bender.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And things occurred to me.
Things actually occurred to you. Wow.
Things actually occurred to me as to watching this, because how well do you remember the movie? Like, do you remember it? Like,
More or less, yeah, pretty well. I know that Robert Downey Jr. was in it. He played like this douchey guy.
Yeah, but he was great as a douchey guy.
That's like it comes natural to him.
All the villains are awesome.
Yes.
In this movie, especially Chet.
Yeah.
The brother.
Yeah.
The guy's amazing.
Yes.
But no, that makes me worried, because if you haven't, like, do you remember when they started to create the girl?
Yeah.
So they were watching Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Frankenstein's Bride. That's what they were watching.
Yeah.
Okay? The old black and white.
Yeah.
And they got this idea to make a person, to make a girl, right?
Yeah.
And it's an odd. I don't understand the premise of this movie.
Yeah.
How this whole thing evolved. A lot of it doesn't make sense. It's extremely entertaining. That's one of the things about the 80s. You can just suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
Just watch something.
Yeah.
So I think in the movie the idea was to create like an AI girl.
Yeah.
Right, and then ask it questions, and
that's what they originally wanted.
Yeah, that's what they originally wanted. They wanted they wanted this AI to coach them.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a computer simulated girl, which is essentially AI. That's what they're asking for.
Yeah, it says virtual woman using Wine's computer. After hooking electrodes to a doll and hacking into a government system for more power, Power Surge creates Lisa. So basically, they got a physical girl that they didn't intend.
Yeah. So I think that before we continue, we got to watch the scene. Okay? Just so because you got to get on the level, or otherwise this conversation, you know what I mean? Like you got to, I need your help too, like to express what I'm trying to say, and you don't see it.
Yeah.
So why don't you take a look at it and let the folks.
By the way, the person that made the music for this movie, his name is Ira Newborn.
Yeah, he made a lot of stuff.
He made stuff for 16 Candles, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Mallrats, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and Into the Night.
No, he's one of the best soundtrack dudes.
He worked frequently, for John Hughes. He also did the soundtrack for Naked Gun.
That right there, I didn't know that, but that right there alone, is some gangster.
Yeah.
That intro, that I can listen to that on a loop.
Also, Wise Guys, Dragnet, Amazon Women on the Moon, Caddyshack 2, Naked Files from Police Squad, Uncle Buck. Yeah, I'm just reading the whole list. My Blue Heaven, Naked Gun 2.5, Smell of Fear, Brain Donors, I don't know what that is. Ace Ventura Detective, Naked Gun 33 and 1/3, Jerky Boys the movie, Mallrats, High School High, Bad Manners, Basketball.
Yeah,
music for all those things. Interesting. So what you're saying, you wanted to play the beginning of this?
I just wanted to play the scene. It's just the scene itself is like maybe like 2 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So So hang on. I'm just looking. I think I found the clip.
Yeah.
No. Damn. Gary and I'm trying to find the right wording. Gary and Wyatt decide to create. Let's see.
Yeah. Create. Here.
No, it's not gonna play the whole. Like I want to.
Gary created woman. This.
No, it's not that one.
You mean beforehand? Yeah, making a girl with a computer.
I want to see how
Question
they.
mark?
I want to see the conversation that they had. Hold on.
Yeah, there you go. The 6 minutes 18 seconds clip.
Okay, does it start with the conversation that they're having watching Frankenstein? Because that's important. That's the stuff that.
Hold on. No, this is already when he puts the thing into the file in there. No, this is already the creative part.
All right. You know what? Hang on a second.
Hold on. Weird Science.
I'm gonna get it on.
Oh, Frankenstein. There. The creation HD. There you go. Let's see.
As you know.
Oops.
That doesn't sound like Gary or Wyatt.
Yeah, this is just like the actual creation part. Yeah, they don't. You want the conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, I got it. I'm gonna play the conversation. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay. I see. I wasn't okay. So hang on.
There's a she. Yeah, she's alive. Oh, this is like just DVD raw.
I don't know what. Okay, hang on.
There you go. Young Frankenstein, Weird Science. Oh no, that's Young.
I'm actually like finding it right now.
Okay.
It's actually it's a crazy scene and it's a lot to unpack.
Check us out. Is this the thing? Oh no, this is when they're made fun of.
Nope, I'm just I'm getting closer. Okay. Got it.
Found it? Huh?
I found it. Okay. So you got to tell me if you can hear this audio, okay? All right, I'm going to play it for like 5 seconds. Let me know if you can hear it.
Okay.
Here's the final touch.
Yes.
Great.
The brain you stole. Think of it. The brain of a dead man, waiting to live again in a body I made with my own hands.
You know, it's not a bad idea.
What? 15 minutes storage any time.
Making a girl. Actually making a girl. Just like Frankenstein. Except cuter.
You're serious?
Yes. Look me in the eyes. Do I look serious?
So basically, I just stopped the scene for a second. So he's like,
Yeah.
look me in the eyes. Do I look serious? And then it's just it's a close up of him.
Mm-hmm.
His whole face is in shadow except his crazy eyes. You know, like dramatic effect. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
We'll see whether I'm crazy or not.
Gary Wallace, that's absolute. That's sick. I'm not digging up dead girls.
No, I'm not talking about digging up a dead girl, Wyatt. I'm talking about your system, idiot, your computer. Okay, look, you know how you're always talking about how you can simulate all that stuff in your computer? You know? What's the difference? Why can't we simulate a girl?
I don't know. I guess I could, but why? It's two-dimensional on the screen. It's not flesh and blood, Gary.
Well, I know that, but you know, we can use it. Why? We can ask it questions. We can put it in real life sexual situations and see how it reacts. Like real sick, demented shit. You'd love it.
What about your girl in Canada?
Yeah, this girl's no morals. You know, I don't like that on a girl. It's rough having those kind of relationships. You'll see. Get to work. There it is. Tell you what, I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's female stats. I mean, anything bigger than a handful, you're risking a sprain.
They're deciding on how big her boob should be at this point.
You know, and yeah. Perfect.
Okay, now what?
Should we give her a break?
He's like, should we give her a brain? So they're deciding how to make her. Anyway, so they continue on in this fashion, right? And then they start adding data. For some reason, they start cutting out, clippings from magazines and stuff. And I'm not exactly sure how they stick that data in the computer.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Whatever. You're supposed to suspend disbelief.
Yeah. Correct.
Do you remember in the 80s how like not mythological, but like the air that a computer had?
Yeah.
Like people didn't know what a computer was. They just knew
What it's capable of.
Yeah. They didn't even know. They didn't know what it was capable of.
Yeah.
They thought it was like, it can do anything,
Yeah.
a computer, right?
Yeah.
So this movie was capitalizing on the ignorance.
Yeah. But it's funny because you probably can do that now. Put a photo. You can read a photo and see, like Facebook does that. They read the photo, or like a meme, and you can make out like what the meme is. What the information is being conveyed.
Absolutely.
Text,
So I'm saying that this movie like introduced these ideas.
Introduce something they already had.
Either they already had,
DARPA.
right, or they're developing, or they were working on, or.
Yeah. It's just like that movie. It's just like the movie where the kids hack into the nuclear thing. What was that movie?
War Games.
Yeah, War Games. It's the same thing. They already had that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, honestly, like if I was working in the government, during in what do they call it? What the hell? The North American, the thing, NORAD. If I was working at NORAD or anything, government having to do with like launching nuclear missiles or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
If somebody starts hacking into my system, the first place that I'm going to be looking is Shermer, Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you had Ferris Bueller do it, and now you got these guys are about to do it.
Yeah.
Do you hear my baby losing his mind?
Yes, a little bit.
Hang on.
So
Hang on.
Schumer, Illinois. That's the
That's the town that they're in right now. And I think Ferris Bueller was also in the same town.
It's actually we're represented by the real life town of Northbrook. Schumer is like a fake town, but Northbrook, that's the place.
Raffi wants to be a star. He's forcing his way. It's a lesson for all of us, you got to be assertive.
That's right. Sometimes
all right.
Chutzpah.
Yeah. All right. So now she put a pacifier in his mouth. I wanted to make it seem like I'm the one that got it to do it.
You're the angry Russian?
Yeah. He spit the pacifier out, and it's out of spite.
Yeah. That's funny. Like, shut up, Dad. Homie, don't.
Okay. So Hank, I think we gotta use Raffi here as a comedic prop for a moment more.
Mm-hmm.
No, but this is it's organic.
Yeah.
This is a process.
Yeah. That's true. It's very organic, especially when he's pooping.
That is some organic poop.
Yeah.
Because the formula is organic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why? Yeah. So we're talking about what, like AI? What was your?
Well, that was just a side point. We're talking about how what they're essentially showing here in this movie, right? Like more than 30 years ago, is it's like I mean, it's the type of AI that they're talking about right now.
Yeah.
If you read what Ray Kurzweil says and his buddies, all these guys, right?
Yeah.
These like technocrats,
the
techno cult.
Yeah.
Want to create it. I have a book of his that I read most of it. It's called what the hell's wrong with Singularity? The Singularity Point. I don't know. I remember.
Singularity Theory. Yeah.
Not the Singularity Theory. I'm trying to remember the name of the book.
Oh, the book. Kurzweil
Singularity is now, something like that.
is near. Is
Is
nearer.
Yeah, yes. The singularity is near. Yeah, that's his book.
Yeah.
Okay, so he writes about AI,
Mhm.
right? That we don't. He doesn't believe that God exists now, but he
Yeah.
believes that we will create him
Interesting.
with the AI.
Mhm.
The AI will be our guide. It will be the God that we have been searching for desperately
Yeah.
and needing all this time.
Can someone say Tower of Babel?
You can say that many times.
Huh.
I would agree.
Tower of Babel. 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 Tower of Babel.
Okay, many times.
All right.
Hey,
That's
is there any possible way to stop the live stream and then continue in just a moment?
Yeah,
think-
I also have to use the boys' room, if that's what you mean.
Okay, great.
Let's pause that recording.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right
All right.
back. Sort of. Yes.
Well, I'm back if you can hear me.
Sir, are you back?
I'm back, sir.
Oh, already.
It seems as though Rafi
Uh-huh.
was hungry.
Mhm.
We're back. We're back. Rafi's eating, so we have a few moments here.
Nice.
Let's make them count. Okay, so that's what they're doing here. Essentially, they're trying to create their own AI God, really.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if you know the movie well, you know that they're like these two kind of dorky guys,
Yeah.
not very popular in school, not very popular with the girls, and yet all they do is think about girls.
Yes.
They worship girls.
Yes.
Okay, so it's funny that the God that they create, this all-powerful deity that they're creating, that they don't realize they're creating it. They will soon.
Yeah.
Is the ideal, their ideal of what a woman is, what a woman should look like, and what a woman should be like.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, they did a great job.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Born English model and actress.
we got to talk about how awesome she is. By the way, I'm not talking about just how she looks.
Yeah.
I'm talking about her role in this movie.
Yes.
And I don't understand, because of that, I don't understand why she didn't have a great career as a comic actress. She's hilarious.
Yeah,
She's hilarious.
yeah, she is hilarious. Well, she played in Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal. I think that may have killed her career because they had kids.
It could be. And, she was kind of funny in that movie, too. She had
Oh, yeah.
there's like a line where, I don't remember what she was, but he was in a coma, and she kept, she basically kept looking at him naked.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
She would make these comments like, oof, like stuff like that. Like she was very impressed. Obviously, they gave her they made her say that, but the way she delivered them was hilarious.
Yeah.
She could have been a tremendous comic actress.
Yeah, she could have been.
But, and I just want to say, like, when I was a kid and I saw this movie, I wanted her.
Yes.
I didn't know what I wanted her for, but I think I wanted her just to kind of, like, I wanted her wisdom. She seems so wise.
Yeah, she was very wise.
Like,
She was very wise. Yeah. Well, they put the photo of Einstein into the thing.
they put Einstein. They put like some. I think I can't
Here,
remember.
I'll tell you what
Rotten or something like that too.
I'll play a silent version of the creating the thing.
All right.
Creating the woman, and I'll tell you exactly what they put in here. Creating. Yeah. Well, creating Lisa. Yeah. And Gary created woman. Okay. I can't take this anymore. They put. I remember this distinctly. Hold on. One second. Okay. Okay. All right. So the doll, whatever. Oh, no, I think this is already the part where it's like electrocuted and all that kind of stuff. No. There's a whole scene. Hold on. Here. Okay. They put in intelligence. Okay. Brain analysis, intelligence level. 5th grade, slow learner, boring dipshit. No. Here, hold on.
They're unhappy with that. They didn't like.
Yeah. They don't like. Here, hold on. I want to get to the part where they put stuff in.
All of a sudden, they start like hacking into the government. Like,
Yes. Here you go. They take out all their what's it called, Playboys and stuff. Yeah. They put in all like the hottest chicks. Okay, but I want to see body part of simulation. Oh, here you go. Beethoven symphony. She can play Beethoven stuff. Then you get Cosmopolitan. Oh, there you go. So you actually had Kelly LeBrock's face. Then you get Einstein. Brain simulation.
They got some rock stars there too.
Yeah, Kelly. Then you got Houdini, David Lee Roth. Huh.
Yeah.
Dave TV. That's very funny. Then you get neural input. That's funny. Then you get let's see what else. Then now they're onto the doll. Kind of weird.
The doll, and then you're gonna see they're gonna wear bras on their heads.
Yeah, they wear bras on their heads. I don't really know why. It's like some sort of a Otazara situation.
No, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, why are they doing this? Why?
Because what I believe the movie is communicating is that this is a religious ritual that they're performing, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which there's concepts here, which seem to have some truth to them.
Yeah.
There's a book that Rabbi Pinson wrote, Rabbi Dov Pinson, about he's discussing and teaching the techniques of materializing reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to have a vision in your mind, a very crisp, detailed vision of exactly what you want. You have to engrave it. You have to like make it as real as possible, like in your mind. You got to work on it. It has to be vivid, textiles, everything, details. You got to be able to see your vision.
Yeah.
And then, only then is there potential to materialize it with other techniques.
Yeah.
So this whole thing that they're doing here in this movie, right, is essentially that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're creating, they're thinking deeply, creating the thing that they want, right? And then they tap into a power source. I don't know what. It's interesting that they chose like government servers, right, to tap in. I mean, I guess it makes sense on a basic level because it's probably the most powerful, right? Like whatever. This is pre-Google, right? Like, so basically, it's odd. It's really odd that they even like added this premise that they need more power, right, to create a simulated girl.
Yeah.
Right. Because remember, they in their mind they're creating like a simulation that they're gonna see on a computer screen.
Yeah.
Right. So why is it that they needed more power, that they had to hack into the government system, stuff like that? Okay. So once they have the image in their mind, right, they put in all the data, all the details, precisely what she looks like, precisely how big her boobs are, how long her legs are, how smart she is, the kind of music, everything, right? Then somehow they input it and they need more power. Why?
Yeah.
Where's this idea coming from? That they have to tap into an external power source to create something like this, right? Which is interesting. I mean, it's not necessary if you think about it.
Yeah.
Right. So once they do that, once they tap into this, to what their view of a great power source that is external to them, something beyond them, right? They try to tap into it, and then everything goes haywire. There's a dog on the ceiling. There's all these weird things happening around town. It's these supernatural, things. It gets weird and magical.
Yeah.
Okay, and then she manifests.
Mm-hmm.
This is essentially a description of reality that people are not familiar with yet. But essentially, this is what it's going to be like when Mashiach comes, only because he's going to teach us the nature of reality, of what is right now. Yeah. It's not like the universe is going to change when he comes because he came, and then all of a sudden we're going to be able to do these things. This stuff is possible now, except the knowledge is not widespread. Yeah. Okay, it's very, very guarded secret. Yeah. Okay. But this process that we're seeing here in Weird Science is part of it. I mean, it really could be like a good tutorial, to start people off in understanding this concept and how it works. Yeah. It's not going to teach you how to actually tap into this power, okay, which is obviously God, right? And there's a way to tap in, to tap into it, but there's a process. There's a whole process that needs to go down in order to manifest a vision.
Yeah.
Okay. And people talk about this too. Hang on. And people talk about this. You have I can imagine someone, who's that motivational speaker?
Oh, Tony Robbins?
Yeah, the giant dude.
Yeah.
That guy looks like he's from another planet. I gotta be honest.
I think he is.
He's a giant dude. He looks different. He looks like.
Can I play to you the audio from? You ever see the Family Guy episode with him where he's there for 2 seconds? It's from the When You Wish Upon a Weinstein.
Right.
Yeah. Literally here.
I just figured out how to make sure Chris becomes a big success.
Please tell me this doesn't have anything to do with Tony Robbins.
Oh, no, I learned my lesson. Could you sign this book, please? Tony Robbins hungry.
He eats him.
Yeah.
Giant teeth and That's it. Tony Robbins hungry.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know if I'm not sure if I remember him saying that precisely, but this whole thing about visualization sounds like it's common in the motivational speaker circuit.
Yeah.
You know what? I've even heard, where I heard this from?
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just realized that.
Yes.
He was talking about when he was Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
He's you have to, I think it was that Pumping Iron documentary.
Oh, you have to imagine that.
You have to see it. You have to see it clearly. You have to know what you want. You have to and then you will do it. It has to be very,
Here.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
No, but this is about the pump. Okay, no. It's a car. Making memories lie.
By the way, with the baby crying,
no.
In a couple of previous episodes, I was worried about how it sounds, but when I listen to the recording, a lot of times it's barely audible.
Yeah, no, it is barely audible. Yeah. Here, I mean, this might be it. This, but I don't want. I just don't want to play the part where he says, you know. Oh, here you go. Hold on.
In a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in the gym is the pump. Let's say you train your biceps, blood is rushing into your muscles, and that's what we call a pump. Your muscles get a really tight feeling, like your skin is going to explode any minute. You know, it's really.
Is this it? No, that's not.
That's not it, man. I don't know. I can't remember if it's for sure from this documentary, or it could have been just like some YouTube video somewhere.
Here.
He was saying you have to really, really see it clearly.
Here. There you go. Yeah, they have like all kinds of stuff: motivation, techniques for optimal living. It's like a 9-minute clip.
Yeah, that's too long.
Law of attraction.
That's the point.
Technique.
Whatever. I said the important part.
Yeah. Here you go. Oh, here you go.
Okay.
I found it. It's actually here.
All right, cool.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was not well known at the double sizing stay home that takes you
Oh, people of your profession.
Homosexual.
I was a sports columnist for the Tucson Citizen, and my assignment was to spend a full day one-on-one with Arnold and write a feature story about him.
Sounds like Pauly Shore.
I casually asked him,
One second.
now that you've retired from bodybuilding, what are you going to do next? And with a voice as calm as if he were telling me about some mundane travel plans, he said, I'm going to be the #1 box office star in all of Hollywood. I tried not to show my shock and amusement at his plan. After all, his first attempt at movies didn't promise much. And his Austrian accent, an awkward, monstrous build, really didn't suggest instant acceptance by movie audiences. So I asked him just how he planned to become Hollywood's top star. It's the same process I used in bodybuilding, he explained. What you do is create a vision of who you want to be and then live into that picture as if it were already true. Now notice that Arnold said create a vision. He didn't say that you wait until you receive a vision. You create one. In other words, you can make it up.
Yeah. So, what do you think?
That's exactly right. Okay. So there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
I heard Bart Sadok when he was describing some of the Abulafian techniques, or it wasn't his techniques, but the ones that he taught.
Yeah.
Okay. And Abulafia was famous for teaching the prophetic tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So one of the techniques, and this is specifically to get in touch with your Magid. You know this idea? Essentially, we have 5 levels of the soul.
Okay.
Okay. So we're here. The part of the soul that most people are experiencing here in this world is called the nefesh. It gets much more detailed. This is general. Okay. And then in the upper world, which we call Yetzirah, there's a version of you there.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, but it's not part of your current experience. Okay, this is your representation in the world of Yetzirah. You can make contact with it. Okay, and that's called the Ruach.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you make contact with it, it begins to feed you information from above. And it delivers wisdom from heaven. That's one way to put it. Okay, at that point, it's called your Magid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And Rabbi Yosef Karo, who is the one who compiled the Shulchan Aruch, the code of Jewish law. He wrote a book about how he contacted his own Magid.
Yeah.
And how he received a lot of wisdom and guidance from that Magid. Okay, so this is something that was commonly done by the holy people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So one of the things that Abulafia writes is one way to create your own Magid is that you have to create the image in your mind that this Magid can inhabit.
Yeah.
Okay. You create the vessel for it. Then, at some point, the Magid takes over. Okay. Like, let's say you create, I don't know, Dumbledore, not gay. Right.
Yeah.
So your Magid can inhabit this idea, this vision of and come to you as Dumbledore if you want.
Yeah.
He could come to you as Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, whatever it is you can imagine having a conversation with. By the way, am I the only one that does that? I'm sure I'm not. Do you like when you're like alone and you're kind of like not daydreaming, but your mind is kind of in a reverie?
Yeah.
And you're imagining having a conversation with someone
Yes.
you respect, some kind of like, some kind of like wisdom conversation.
I did this. I mean, I visited the kever of a friend's father, and I literally did this. I told you about this.
Right. Yeah.
You asked me about your brother and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So that because you do that, right, and because you're comfortable with him, he can be an excellent vessel for the Maggid. And by the way, this technique, I'm sure, applies not just to your own Maggid, but it can apply for angels too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the spiritual world, and this is from what I'm about to say is from the Ramchal. The spiritual world, it needs to inhabit something of this world in order to communicate with us. So when the angels, if the angels are just coming to you in a vision, then they'll use the inventory that it finds in your mind, the images, the sounds, whatever. If they actually need to manifest in physical like reality, okay, then they have ways of inhabiting physical material as well temporarily.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, but that's a side point. Okay. The point is that these techniques, okay, they all point to the same idea, which is you start it, you visualize it.
Yeah.
You have to make the first. You got to build. Like this idea of like the temple will come down, but we have to build the base for it.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Sure.
Okay. So that's what this movie shows. That somehow they created a base for their temple, right? They created the idea of what they want, of what they want to be with. Okay, and then they added some kind of power to it, which is greater than themselves, to manifest it. And they couldn't imagine that it manifested in reality.
Yeah.
They thought it would just be like this amazing like AI, but it tapped into the supernatural.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have, you tried to get, some kind of AI, but you got a supernatural being, some kind of angelic entity that occurred, that manifested, and is all powerful apparently, right? So, like she can manifest anything. She can, she felt like getting them a Ferrari and a Porsche. It just appeared, right? She, there's one time they were about to go out with her, and they were wearing their like stupid little boy suits, and then as they were walking, she gave them like the stylish clothing, right, to go, and all this kind of crazy stuff. She and she also manifested a nightmarish scenario for them later, if you remember the party.
Yeah.
Right, to teach them and to evoke some kind of growth from them, right, so that they can overcome their fear and show some. So this is a godlike behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a very interesting movie. Like you have all these ideas. Like if you think about it on this level, there's so much to derive, right? If you don't think about it on this level, you got to be like, oh well.
Yeah, it's a stupid movie.
Goofy, yeah, it's fine. Oh, you got to suspend disbelief, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It really, just for the folks at home, there's no such thing as a movie like this. Movie was like an international success. Everybody remembers it. Everybody loves it for many reasons.
Can I just read the plot?
Yeah, but hold on. Whenever a movie becomes this like influential, anything becomes a story, a song, whatever. Okay, there's a reason for it. That means it has some purpose to serve in the greater scheme of things, and to instruct mankind.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, like Harry Potter, like The Matrix.
Yeah.
I think this is a part of it.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you want to read?
So we already talked about how they created her and this and that. It says, okay, so promptly, okay, so after they create her, a beautiful, intelligent woman with unlimited magical powers. Her name is Lisa. Promptly, she conjures up a Cadillac to take the boys to a dive bar in Chicago, using her powers to manipulate people into believing Gary and Wyatt are of age. They return home drunk and happen upon Chet, Wyatt's mean older brother, who extorts money from him to buy his silence. Lisa agrees to keep herself hidden from him, but she realizes that Gary and Wyatt, while extremely sweet, are very uptight and need to unwind. After another humiliating experience at the mall, when Max and Ian pour out an icy and Gary and Wyatt in front of a crowd, Lisa tells the bullies about a party at Wyatt's house, of which Wyatt had no prior knowledge. Before driving off in a Porsche 928, she conjured for Gary. Despite Wyatt's protests, the party has spun out of control while Gary and Wyatt take refuge in the bathroom, where they resolve to have a good time, despite having embarrassed themselves in front of Deb and Hilly, these girls they want. In Wyatt's bedroom, Ian and Max convince Gary and Wyatt to recreate the events that created Lisa, but it fails. Lisa chides them over their misuse of the magic to impress their tormentors. She also explains that they forgot to connect the doll. Thus, with the bare but live electrodes resting on a magazine page showing a Pershing 2 medium-range ballistic missile,
yeah,
the real missile appears, crashing through the house. Meanwhile, Wyatt's grandparents arrive and confront Lisa about the party, but she freezes them and hides them in a cupboard. Lisa realizes that the boys need a challenge to boost their confidence and has a gang of mutant bikers invade the party, causing chaos and sending the boys running. When the bikers take Deb and Hilly hostage, Wyatt and Gary decide to confront the bikers, causing Deb and Hilly to fall in love with them.
Yep. Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
They're like, they're scared of the bikers. They're hiding, right? When they grab the girl, when the mutant bikers grab the girls that they like, all of a sudden Wyatt's like, he's like, Gary,
yeah,
I'm ready to die. He goes, Wyatt, I can't wait to die.
Oh my God.
That had an impact on me. Okay, continue.
The bikers leave, and the next morning, Chet discovers the house in disarray, including a localized snowstorm in his room and the missile. Lisa tells the boys to escort the girls home while she talks to Chet alone. Gary and Wyatt proclaim their feelings, and both girls reciprocate their feelings to the boys. Returning to the house, the boys discover Chet, now transformed into a talking mutant blob. He apologizes to Wyatt for his behavior. Upstairs, Lisa assures them that Chet will soon return to normal.
He was kind of like a frog type thing.
Yeah. And realizing that her purpose is complete, hugs both Gary and Wyatt before dematerializing. As she leaves, the house is magically cleaned and everything transformed back to normal, including Chet. Wyatt's parents return home, completely unaware that anything odd has happened. Later, Gary and Wyatt's high school, Lisa turns up as a new gym teacher, thus continuing her mission to look out for the two.
No, but you know why? You know why she did that? Because these idiots told her she had to go.
Uh-huh.
Because they moved on. They found girlfriends. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You assholes. That part never made. I mean, a lot of things in this movie don't make sense.
Yeah.
But can I tell you what the most embarrassing moment in this movie is? And it's not with the two main characters.
Okay.
There's a lot of embarrassing moments for them, but not the two. The most embarrassing moment is for Robert Downey Jr. and his friend Max.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't remember what his friend's name was. You know the actor.
Oh,
you're like, oh, that guy.
Hold on. Robert Russler. I don't know.
He was in this movie. Robert Russler. He was in this movie. Which is
I know the face. Yeah.
He was in a movie called Vamp. It was a horrible, stupid, idiotic movie. It made no sense.
He looks like an Israeli guy. It's kind of funny.
They all look Israeli. Seriously.
Yeah.
Everybody can look like an Israeli in a certain context.
Yeah. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah, he's a regular guy. So
he's like a surfer and a skateboarder. He's like one of these guys. He looks like, you know who he looked like from Dylan from 90210. That's what he looked like.
Yeah, the forehead thing, right?
He could have been Dylan. He could have been the Dylan. Yeah, the forehead thing.
So he was in a movie with Grace Jones.
Yeah.
Grace Jones played this like vampire. It was a stupid. It was like a 80s comedy kind of horror movie, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Movie was awful.
Vamp.
Yeah, Vamp. But her performance, like they went to a strip club, and she was a performer there.
Mhm.
And the song that was playing, that it was her track, by the way. It was called "Seduction Surrender." Was one of the most underrated and probably one of the greatest dance tracks like ever. It's just like it blew me away. Like I didn't know about it back then. This is something I discovered like about 10 years ago.
Let's see, Grace Jones discography.
And then I'll get back to talking about the most embarrassing moment in Weird Science.
Singles. Singles. You said it was in the 80s, probably.
No, so it's called "Seduction Surrender."
I'm looking for the song. Oh, it doesn't appear on it. I guess it's like a soundtrack kind of song. No?
Yeah, it came. It was like a single or something like that. It wasn't.
Hold on. I'm gonna play part of it because so we don't get there.
What are you gonna do?
Are you sure it's Seduction Surrender? Oh yeah, it is Seduction Surrender.
Positive.
Let's see.
That might be a remix or something.
Is it? Oh.
Let me find it, okay?
What?
Let me find it.
Isn't that it?
Nope.
Maybe it's from Katrina's Club Performance. There we go. This is the bam. Okay.
That's it.
No. Crazy.
Let it play. Just let it play.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
What?
So that's the basic idea. It continues like that.
Yeah.
But when I heard
Fury in this freaking movie, in this movie, it's like she looks like
probably like 85, 86, something like that.
Yeah, 85. She looks like a witch doctor.
Yeah, that's the look she's going for, right? So basically that song, like that's the thing about the 80s. You had these like cheesy movies, super cheesy, right? And fun, goofy.
Yeah.
And then you had these soundtracks, which is like like Bloodsport.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of cheese in that movie.
Incredible.
Right? Like so much goofiness. Awesome though, awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the soundtrack is, dude. I sent you that track the other day, "Steal the Night."
Yeah.
Remember that was the song that was playing when the federal agents were chasing Van Damme through the streets of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
He was like wearing a blazer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a good style. But anyway, so this song it never made sense to me. It's so good. It didn't fit if you listen to the song, the feeling of it, and you listen to the words, it has nothing to do with the scene whatsoever. It never made sense.
Yeah.
But whatever, you get to listen to this amazing song.
Yep.
Okay. We got to talk about that song at some point. Remind me, please.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so back to the most embarrassing moment in Weird Science. So it was for Robert Downey Jr.'s character and his friend. So right after they spilled the slushy on the two protagonists in the mall in front of everybody, horribly embarrassing them. Right? They're walking in the mall. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. and his friend, and they're on an escalator, and they see Kelly LeBrock. Okay, and she's going the other direction, and they see her, and they're stunned, and she kind of like looks at them, kind of like in a seductive way, but comedically, and she gives them like one of those little kisses, and they're shocked, they get all excited, and they quickly try to chase her, right? So she gets to the entrance of the mall, and she's waiting for somebody, for the car to come around.
Yeah.
And they run up to her, and they're like, "Hey." She's like, "Hey." He goes, "So you were looking at us?" And she's like, "Yeah." So and you just see them just like destroyed. Like they didn't think it through. It was the most awkward moment in that movie. I'm not relaying it really well, but like, if anybody remembers this movie, they know that was absolutely brutal. So like, she just absolutely annihilated them.
Yeah.
Without saying anything, she's like, yeah. So, can you imagine what they were fantasizing about as they were chasing her? What did they think was going to happen? Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about Weird Science. That's it.
Interesting.
There's a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more in this movie. This, if you get into the details.
For sure.
But just in terms of like a spiritual idea.
Yeah. So you think? I mean, like, it just seems like the people that are behind everything that we've seen over the last 2.5 years are actually behind some weird science. I happen to think you mentioned religious ritual. I happen to think this whole thing with kids, giving stuff to kids, is something.
It's an evil religious ritual.
Yeah.
Every evil religious ritual is like the opposite of what you saw in this movie, Weird Science. It's the opposite of tapping into a higher power. It's the opposite of creativity, of being able to visualize what you want. It's the exact opposite.
That's
how the Strata works.
Yeah. Here, I hate to play Schmalik Schmones.
Why? He's awesome.
I hate to play, but sometimes people. But this when I heard it here, they actually took it down this episode when he was on Andrew Schultz. And he spoke about, if I can find it, they took it down, but you know what? If I can find it, here, hold on. Alex Schmones, Andrew Schultz.
By the way, one more thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Grace Jones, absolutely unique. Absolutely no one like her.
Yeah, of course. Here.
She's crazy, but very unique.
It was something called Flagrant 2. Here we go. Let's see. They put it up into things, into sections, so that's good. Andrew Yang, Trump, oh, this was in the first episode that he. Oh, here we go. Hold on. UFOs are from Earth. This part, but it's very long. So let's see.
We think it's aliens or UFOs or whatever like that.
Hold on.
About COVID, we don't care about UFOs, bro. We don't.
Well,
care.
that
They could possibly move.
of Israel. Did you see the footage in the whole latest Gaza conflict? Year-old stuff. Movie First Man.
Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin.
Hold on.
I just asked why the Germans were 43.
So you're saying we're in space before we have jets?
Hold on.
That's what to do. So Hitler believed in all that stuff. Officers' heads.
I'm a little let down because
they made the best weapons.
And you can see through their act. World War I or II is
sacrifice these beings for them to give you advanced knowledge. So you go back.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Drew the sketch like a gray alien. So the first image we see of a gray alien is from him.
Wait, really?
Yeah, and then all that Aleister Crowley stuff that's in the WikiLeaks is they talk about the Aleister Crowley cult and doing his rituals. So he
Hold on.
how did-
I need to find it. It's from the first thing that people took it down. That
What
you
is it?
took it down.
Can I ask you a question? Because so far, what you played,
Uh-huh.
I've heard.
The basic premise is that there's these demons that traverse different realms, and that these guys, like, you know, Mousy and what's the other guy? Podesta, and all these different people are making child sacrifices to them, to these things.
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
That's not far from the truth.
Yeah.
There are demons. Child sacrifices are involved in this. Also, they do traverse different realms. I can't see anything not true so far, what he said. At least in concept of such things existing.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I mean, we're talking about.
We've already said in the Torah that the gray aliens, like he mentioned, right?
Yeah.
This concept did not come from Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley lived in the early 20th century. The
Yeah.
Torah has been describing a type of shade, which is
Yeah.
called a Nashia,
Shadim, yeah.
for a long time, and it describes them as a gray alien. That's exactly what the description is. So you know, listen, Alex Jones, he's the kind of guy, he gets some knowledge, it seems correct to him, he gets excited, and then he just starts screaming, but he has, you know what I mean? A lot of what he's saying wasn't thoroughly, all of it wasn't completely vetted perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't come across information that might, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he speaks too authoritatively. I think that's his
That's true. That's true. Listen, who knows? Maybe because his father was part of intelligence and all that kind of stuff. So maybe he is authoritative. You know what I mean?
In some things, but he gets like everything that he says, right? And he says it so strongly.
Yeah.
Never heard him say like, I don't know, I think that, you know, there might be something to this or something like that. You know, he's always like, you know, I think that's the issue.
Yeah. Here, I found it on BitChute. Somebody posted it, but it's, yeah, you can't find the clip. Whatever.
I can't tell I'm trained to this body.
I'm gonna have to find the clip somewhere. It's annoying. Whatever, I'll find it somewhere. Anyway.
Even if you didn't find the clip,
yeah,
we talked about like the basic, you know.
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
In many conversations.
So we spoke to this woman today on Lowell's podcast.
That was Mia's mom.
Weissman's emo. And she says that there's a bunch of people in Ramat Bet Shemesh, older people and different, not just older, like younger, you know, plotzing, and no one is acknowledging why, explaining why. People just keep saying, yeah, but the person didn't wake up. Stam. Okay.
These things happen.
Yeah, these things happen. No, they don't. And so we were asking, like, you know, do you think that these people will wake up? Is it gonna be like an aha moment, whatever it is? And she didn't give much hope. She was just like, no, I think they're just too deep in. But I'm just wondering, man, like it has to come a point where, like, people, every story you've read about any cult, you know, Jim Jones, this, that, people eventually wake up. Something happens, right? And everybody wakes up, always, without fail.
Yeah, they drink the Kool-Aid and die. That's what happens.
No, but like there are people who don't die, or like, let's say, whatever, like people who don't die, wake up and they try to escape, and they start escaping. Not just try, they succeed in escaping, and then they go report to the authorities. You know, a downfall happens. I'm really wondering, like, what is it going to be in this case? What is it going to take? What is it going to look like? So let's say, let's stop short of, like you always say, supernatural intervention. I'm really, because, you know, you could say that for any cult. You know, only supernatural intervention is going to stop this and that, and, you know, this cult and that cult, and these people are brainwashed. There's no way, you know. But what would that look like? I'm just curious, because she didn't really give. She's just like, she can't talk to these people. Well,
Greg, that's the point. That's why you need the supernatural intervention. because she's saying there doesn't seem to be any indication that people are going to wake up, because the main path to waking up is to acknowledge something within ourselves, that we made the wrong decision, that we were stupid, that we're embarrassing idiots.
So listen, here's my question. Forget about the stupid part. I mentioned
by we, I mean them.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I mentioned on the podcast that I can't be the only person on planet Earth that, who is the type of person who, if I realize I put garbage in my body, that I would immediately, like the day of, start scouring for detox. I can't be the only person on this planet who's like this. But for some reason, I've maybe come across, I don't know,
Greg,
a handful of people like this. A handful.
Right. Here's what I've seen. I'm sure you've also seen similar. But for most people, if they're healthy and they're thin and they're attractive, right? It was just given to them. They lived their life. They had fun. When things start to deteriorate and the quality of life starts to, in their view, lessen in some way, their will to live immediately starts to dwindle.
Okay.
That's what it's like for most people.
Okay.
Okay. So it's the opposite of what you're describing as yourself.
Okay.
So the people who are like you are in the vast minority.
I don't understand.
What I'm saying is that people, they live and they try to achieve a certain level of comfort, and convenience. Okay? Once they've experienced a certain level of comfort and convenience, they are so addicted to it that any diminishment of that immediately,
it's almost like a downfall. It's
a downfall, and it creates a gradual, like, kind of suicidal feeling within themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, that the moment life starts to get less fun, less convenient, less luxurious, right? They have to struggle to find meaning and a reason to live. Okay, that's what it's like for most people. Okay, so they're not, like, the moment things start getting a little bit challenging, they just don't want to live anymore. Now, I'm not saying that about people in general throughout all generations. I'm saying that this is a phenomenon that seems to be within our generation, where people can't see past material convenience. They just can't, and they're so threatened by the idea of losing it that they'll do anything to maintain it.
So can I throw a little wrench in what you're saying a little bit?
Please, I hope.
What about the people who are like, these people that you meet, in Israel, like Judea and Samaria, all these kind of people? A lot of these people don't live necessarily in material convenience. They don't. They really don't. And yet they ran to take this stuff. And, you come to them and you say, well, listen, man, you were part of an experiment. You did something stupid. You don't even say you did something stupid. You may have made a mistake. You took what you took, and even for them, it's like difficult to, I don't know. It just seemed like, again, like I know one or two people like this who admitted that there's a problem. I don't know if they're going to seek out, what do they call it, detox necessarily, but everybody else is just kind of like,
with this kind of thing,
denial.
With this kind of thing, it's much more difficult to admit wrong than almost anything else. Like if you were, talking about investments, right? To invest in, whether or not to buy or not to buy. And the person came at you really strong with a really strong viewpoint, right? And they're like, you'd be an idiot not to, those kind of people, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, don't like, and then it doesn't work out. So a person like that, generally, they would find it difficult to come and say, I was wrong, but at least it's possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the Madoff thing, people who bought, took his advice or bought whatever he was selling, there was just a downfall. They lost all their money, so they had no choice.
I'm not talking about something that dramatic. I'm just talking about a general situation in which a person might have to, say, I made an ass out of myself, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. But when it comes to this thing, to the schmack scene, it's a completely different realm here, because when the person realizes that they're wrong, that means that they have to come to grips with the idea that they might have killed themselves, that they might be dead soon, or that their family members who listen to them might also suffer as a consequence of that. So there's many extra layers of defense against that.
No one wants to hear that. No one wants
to hear that. No one wants to entertain that. No one wants to give any, like say, don't remember in Major League, the movie, Randy Travis's character.
What is he? Don't what?
I'm sorry, Randy Quaid's character. He was like that heckler in the state, and he was all negative because I was wrong. The Indians, they were sucking for many, many seasons, and he's just a bitter fan.
He's so stinking. He got so
he got so bitter, right?
Yeah.
And he would sit with sometimes near the other fans who are still, they're not as bitter and they're still hoping. And then somebody made a decent play on the Cleveland Indians for 1 second, and then they get all excited, and he's like, they're just gonna mess it up in the ninth. And then they all take their hats off and start like slapping the shit out of him, right?
Yeah.
He has to go away.
Yeah.
Because why did they do that? Because they don't want him to jinx.
Yeah. Words matter. Words are powerful.
Words are powerful. They didn't want any reality to come. They didn't want him to give any power to manifest that possible reality, right?
Yeah.
So when people are talking about something like this, they don't even want to talk about it because the stakes are so high. They really fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the definition of effing up.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is like, I'm not even, now that I think about it, you have these conversations with people. I think that I wouldn't even expect someone to admit it, that they did something wrong here because of the repercussions. You know what I mean? It's like, you just got to feel bad for them at that point and just kind of give them a break.
At this point,
they know.
No, at this point, I've resigned to like, just not like there's a few friends where I was kind of bombarding them in the beginning, and then they just got tired of it, whatever it is. They started worrying about me, that I was going crazy,
Yeah.
At some point, I just stopped talking to them about it. Every once in a while, I mention it, as in the context of a joke, something. But I don't really go into like numbers and facts and figures and this and this. I don't go into it. There's no point. There's really no point. One of the guys accepts, and he actually says that he took two, and he actually admits that, like, man, I may have made a mistake. Like, he even says, like, yeah, they were offering. It was something in like in Brooklyn, like Crown Heights, like, one of those like not Crown Heights, like Prospect Heights, one of these like the vans, like they're like offering $100 gift card or something that they send to your house, like the city was offering it. It was in the city of New York. I'm like, dude, as if that wasn't your first indication. I had a friend who in Jerusalem, he was about to do it, and then Jerusalem municipality offered people free pizza and French fries, and that's when he knew, like, dude, seriously, like, honestly, it's just absurd. But,
remember the show Sliders? This is a little bit.
What?
There's a show
in
the early '90s called Sliders.
Okay. Yes.
And it was Rebecca, Jerry O'Connell, right? The kid from Stand By Me, Rebecca's husband.
Yes.
Conan O'Brien's arch enemy.
Yeah.
Even though he's married.
Yes.
There's one episode, I think this is the only one that I remember, where they slide to these alternate realities, these like parallel Earths and universes
Yeah.
that have like sometimes they have only very slight differences, and sometimes it's vastly different.
Mhm.
So, and they end up in this one parallel reality where the society built itself around population control. But here's how they do it. There's like I think a random lottery, which is probably not random, and it picks someone who has to, like, I don't remember what the frequency was, but let's say once a month, somebody from every like region has to essentially not volunteer, but they're chosen to die.
Yeah.
Right. But before they do, they have like this amazing week where they are treated to every type of possible experience that is available. They can dine at the best restaurants. They can go see whatever it is that's enjoyable.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So they're treated really, really nicely for a couple of days, and then they have to go and then get some kind of lethal injection, which is completely painless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, in fact, they made it feel good. Actually, they made it feel like it was like this, wonderful, intense, relaxing, and then you just kind of like fall asleep in this lovely little kind of like, pleasant fatigue, and then lose consciousness. They did it. They designed it perfectly. They made it really appealing. So I was thinking to myself, like, people are killing themselves in our reality. That's way better than our reality.
Yeah.
People are killing themselves by the millions for an ice cream or a pizza, or a gift certificate that may or may not come in the mail before they're dead.
It's insane. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, not only they want to keep the level, they want more. Like you said, they want to keep that level of whatever it is that they built up. And on top of that, it's the same thing with like the COVID unemployment stuff. People who had all this money, they gladly accepted. People who make like, I don't know, they take home, let's say $10,000 a month after taxes, gladly accepted COVID relief funds. Like, what is wrong with you, man? They're like, oh, I make $10,000 now, I'll take an extra $1,200. Like, what is wrong with you, man?
Not long-term thinkers.
It's
Okay?
just...
But here's another thing. We talked about this a lot too. The the sacrificing the virgin to the dragon, scenario, where basically people are like, okay, well, we see not everybody's dying. There's a lot of people, but not everybody. Maybe I'll be the one of the not everybody.
Yeah.
People kind of, they just latch onto that. They're like, maybe if I keep quiet, right, I'll just be one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
There's so many layers of mind F that was applied to this, whoever constructed, whoever is a designer of this worldwide pandemic. We know some of the players. We don't know all of them.
There are people obviously behind the scenes who face and name we will never.
And obviously, who I'm going to go to, the ministering angels.
Yeah.
And by the way, very interesting. Just to go back to weird science for a moment. It's odd that when they were seeking power, right, they decided to tap into the government servers, right? There were probably other ideas, like they could have tapped into IBM.
Yeah.
Right. They had IBM at that time.
Yeah, they went into military. These guys, no.
Yeah, they tapped into. Also, later in the movie, you had this theme with the nuclear missiles, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
like DARPA, basically, or NORAD, whatever you call it.
Yeah, and they could have tapped into like Atlantic Bell.
Yeah.
There are these entities that had like major computing power that they could have probably got into much less trouble, like messing with them, than with the government.
Well, it's funny. The older brother was military-minded guy.
Also, yeah, he's like right, exactly. Mm-hmm. So here's what this might be a stretch.
It's almost like the military admonishing them, like, "Oh, you found our secrets," like.
Well, no, Well, possibly, but that's not where I was going.
Okay.
That could be a different angle. Where I was going was that we talked about the hierarchy of how things work in the world, right? And in existence. You have like God, he sends his commands to the various rankings of angels, right? And it trickles down the chain of command of the spiritual entities, the angels, until it finally reaches the lowest of the angels, which are the ministering angels.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, it transitions to humans. Okay. So it would seem, at least in the minds of most people, right, that the military, they have all the secrets of aliens and stuff like that, right? And I'm equating aliens with the ministering angels because essentially that's the reality. That's what people are going to discover. That's the secret. If you want to skip through to the end of the movie, that's what you're going to find out.
Yeah.
Okay. So it seems that that's what they were trying to show us in this movie. That they wanted to tap into this power source to manifest reality, right? So they essentially aimed as close as possible to that source, which is the military, right? Which is right next to the holders. They're the gatekeepers, apparently, of the secrets that are beyond our. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting too.
Yeah, and they're the ones that see all this, UFO.
To this day, every single day, I check in on it like every day. There's a reporting system now.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's one of the apparently the major progress that was accomplished in the past couple of years.
Secret in the secret hearings or whatever it is.
No, not even in secret hearings. There's a for the regular military dudes who are active duty. If they see something, they're now supposed to report it. It's probably not. They're probably still made fun of, and they're probably still worried about reporting it. But as far as the public is concerned, they're trying to make it look like they want the soldiers to report this kind of stuff. They want them to be open about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's this idea there, and the infrastructure is there.
Yeah.
Okay, for someone to report this kind of stuff. So there's that.
Yeah.
But we know anyway, even if it wasn't, because the way that we got the information that we have so far, if it's real, and I think it is, okay, or at least a representation of something real.
Yeah.
That is presented in a way that benefits the presenter. That's also another possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, but according to the way we've gotten information so far, so apparently this is going on literally every single day, especially with the Air Force and the Navy. And let me ask you a question. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but you sent me a link to Lex Fridman.
Yeah.
While this is his latest episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was interviewing, who's he interviewing?
He's interviewing a guy by the name of, I'll tell you who.
Graves, right? The last name.
Yeah.
I keep thinking Adam Graves, but it's not Adam Graves.
It's either. I think it's Ryan. This guy
Ryan Graves. That's right. Who's Ryan Graves?
Ryan Graves is a pilot, fighter pilot.
A United States
former Navy pilot, Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun Navy pilot.
You worked on DARPA.
I think he's still active duty, actually.
Yeah, worked on advanced project development programs with DARPA, Office of Naval Research, Air Force Research Labs on topics of multi-agent collaborative autonomy, AI-assisted air-to-air combat.
He's like an engineer. He got major degrees, all that kind of stuff.
You know what he was talking about? There was one aspect he was talking about, like how when the thing goes underwater, he goes, and I think it's not true. I think he's lying with that. He's like, we haven't created anything that can traverse. I forgot what he used the term not multi-theater, but like basically like go underwater and then in air.
Transmedium.
Yeah, transmedium, something like that. Yeah, it's like we don't have anything like that. I'm like, okay, yes, you do.
Why do you say that, by the way?
Why do I say that?
Huh.
Because I think they do. I don't know. think they
So-
might. They might be working on something.
So you're saying that
Because he's talking, you know what he's talking about, like he's talking about like something like for example, he was using a jet flying at 35,000 feet, communicating with something that's already in space.
okay.
He said we don't necessarily have that. I'm like, that's odd, unless I misunderstood him.
So you're saying that he was saying that we don't have aircraft that can communicate with something in space?
That's
I didn't see the episode. I was wondering if you did.
that's what I understood. Unless I'm totally misunderstanding him.
I feel like there's a
Something-
misunderstanding there.
Yeah, but for sure he said that there's nothing that can, or there's nothing that can it goes in water and then in air.
Well, he usually talks about something descending from space, flying through the air,
Yeah,
with no,
yeah,
completely, 300,000 miles an hour, like Mach 700.
yeah,
Okay. Actually, Mach 500, excuse me.
yeah.
I think that's the one he talked about. No, I'm making a mistake. Whatever. The point is things like that. Okay. Comes from space, flies through the air, like the air doesn't exist, or like space doesn't exist even. Okay. Then goes into the water. Okay. And is the speedometer, like when they check the speed of some of these objects, I don't think that their ability to even detect something going faster than 2 times, was it like
It's almost like if you look at the speed of like when you and I will take like the laser pointer and we start playing with our like pointing at different directions and our cat's playing with it. It's like that. It's that speed.
and not only that, Greg, you touched upon something very important. Some people theorize, and I think I agree with them, that some of these things are not nuts and bolts. In fact,
No.
some of these things really are there, but it's being controlled by something that is invisible.
Yeah.
Right? That like the reason the craft is moving is not because of anything on the craft.
Yeah.
Something external controlling it.
Yeah. It's
And
almost
it's like a hand that's controlling the laser pointer.
It's almost like we're the cat.
Yes. Exactly what it is.
Trying to catch it.
Yeah.
We're the stupid cat trying to like thinking that it's a real thing.
Yeah. And that thing could be like a little, just something for us to make a thought occur.
Yeah.
To get a train of thought to occur in the human mind.
Yeah.
Right? Why? In order to evoke some kind of progress, some kind of growth. Okay? Because you see something like that and you think to yourself, well, it doesn't seem to conform to what I thought the rules of life were.
Yeah.
What could it be? What does it mean? It creates a conflict.
Yep.
The conflict requires, and you need to settle conflicts. There's one way you can do that. You can ignore it, right?
Yeah.
And just block it out, or you can like go straight at it and try to figure it out. And that is, that's a lot of frustration. And you may not get the answer, but at least you're hooked into the mystery. You're trying, you're reaching. And that has a lot to do with the type of relationship we're supposed to have with God.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I think this phenomenon does what it does.
Yeah.
Do you remember what Rabbi Bax said about the name of God, Yud He Vav He?
I mean, he said a lot of things, but what specifically?
So basically, he said that not Yud He Vav He. I'm sorry. He was talking about the term Ein Sof.
Mhm.
Ein means not or without.
Mhm.
Sof means an end. So the eternal, endless. This is a term that's applied that we use to apply to God, right? Usually the Ein Sof.
Okay.
And he says, actually, no. It's not really something that applies to God. It applies more to us.
Mhm.
Why? Because it describes our attempt to grasp God, which will be eternal. We'll never be able to do it. It'll always be just out of reach.
Yeah.
But that attempt to grasp, to reach for the understanding somehow creates some kind of growth within us. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to, promote that within us. Okay, but in order to do that, you got to reach out. You got to attempt to grasp. Okay, so what I mean is like this. I can imagine right now what that sounded like. I think it could be misunderstood. Whenever you learn something, like you're learning Torah, right?
Yeah.
And you learn a concept, you learn a new concept that you didn't understand before. Yeah. That's an attempt at reaching, at grasping. But then you grasp the concept, and it feels amazing, right? But then what do you discover? There's another more profound concept underneath that. So then you struggle to understand that concept. So you get a deeper, closer look into God's will, you could say, right? But then you realize that, whoa, there's something even more. So it goes on like that forever. So that's what it means to eternally reach out and grasp. It doesn't mean that you're going to be, a failure for eternity. It just means that there's going to be an eternity of things to reach out for. That's what it means. I probably should have indicated that earlier. So what else did Brian Graves say? I don't know. Did you watch the whole thing? I didn't get a chance.
I watched parts of it. No, he was just talking about he was asking him about just the different instances, that you and I spoke about, actually. Fravor, all this kind of stuff. He said he did say that this hearing that they had, this recent hearing that everybody was in, he's like, yeah, it was disingenuous as hell. It was very disingenuous. It was very it was basically comprised of these guys talking about their love for sci-fi, Yeah. Disappointing, whatever. I don't know if he used that word. He just said disingenuous. He said that a few times. Yeah, man. Oh, here, if you want, it's a short clip here. I'll play it.
Yeah, sure.
Main Anomaly Resolution Office.
Yeah.
What do you think about this office? Do you think it can help alleviate in a way which this hearing perhaps has failed to improve more of the scientific rigor and the seriousness of investigating UFOs?
I think that remains to be seen. I think it's a step in the right direction, but it's a step that was taken because previous step didn't happen, right? So the AOI MSG was the progeny, essentially, of the AARO or ARO. And, the name was changed because nothing was happening, and it was essentially just a confusing mess of words that were created to make this topic unpalatable. The Airborne Object Identification Synchronization Management Group. Quite the mouthful. I practiced that. But the new All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, from my perspective at least the perspective that they're putting out, they seem to want to be open.
Can I ask you a question? Why do all these military guys look like their face all looks, they have the same look. They look like G.I. Joes.
They look like what?
They look like G.I. Joes. Like they all have the same look, these guys.
Well, they're all usually in shape.
No, in shape, I'm talking about not body, I know, but I'm talking about the face. They look like the same.
There's a certain seriousness and intensity that's expected from officers and people in certain positions. So they want to express that.
No, but what I'm saying is none of them ever have that the bone structure of Adrian Brody. They always have the bone structure of like Dolph Lundgren, more so.
Not always.
Like more often than not.
Not always. You want to type up somebody named Donald Kehoe. Take a look at that guy.
Donald Kehoe.
He was a Marine colonel.
Okay. Oh, so this guy, yeah, but that's I hear. But that's like the 50s. I don't know. Well, he looks more like a Nazi, if anything. He looks like what's that guy? Eichmann.
I don't know, but he doesn't have that appearance of what you're describing. Yeah. I think that the guys they show
he's a representative. He's a media guy.
But also David Fravor doesn't look like that. David Fravor looks like Ben Shapiro.
Oh my God.
Take a look at him. Take a picture.
David Fravor, yeah, a little bit. He looks like Ben Shapiro in a few years. Yeah. Well, if anything, he does look still like a military man. He looks like a military guy.
No, because there's a certain type of demeanor that they have. Okay.
Yeah.
And Well, yeah, I mean, it would seem that a soldier, what they have going for them, what's the most intimidating part of the soldier, is that they're people who are activated and will act. I should say they will act out of duty, which makes them scary.
Yeah.
You know, like most people you encounter, they don't have that part of themselves activated.
Yep.
You know, but a soldier will bayonet someone.
Yeah.
Definitely, if necessary.
Yeah.
So that's something that exudes, you know, that comes out of them. Okay.
Yeah,
from those in power as they used to be back when they didn't have access to those tools. And so I do think there is a massive role for the general society, general populace to play to show that they are interested in this. Because it's not that I don't think the politicians or the leaders in the Pentagon, it's not that they don't like this topic necessarily or think it's toxic per se, but they exist in a culture where this has been toxic and they don't feel comfortable talking about it. And these are people that have spent their entire careers, you know, working towards a goal and getting to very high positions within government. And so this is very against their nature to take a stance on a topic like this. And so the fact that these are standing up, even if they do have a small budget or if they struggled a bit at first, I still think it's a massive change, you know, and it's a big step away from that stigma that has been pervading this topic for so long.
And you're actually part of alleviating the stigma for somebody that's as credible, as intelligent, as like varied in background, able to speak about these things. That's a big risk that you took, but it's extremely valuable because it's alleviating the stigma.
Thank you for saying that, but it didn't feel like much of a risk for me. You know what? Advertise their love of science fiction.
Oh, here. Sorry.
So there was recently a House Intelligence Subcommittee hearing on UFOs that you were a part of. What was the goal of that hearing? And can you maybe summarize what you heard?
The hearings, from my perspective, seemed a bit disingenuous, kind of top level. I think.
Who was it run by? Sorry to interrupt. Like, who were the people involved, and what was the goal, the stated goal?
Congressman Andre Carson did chair the committee, and he was, I think, ultimately responsible for bringing it all together. You know, I think the intent from Congress was to try to bring light to what has been happening with the Navy and to help show the American people that Congress is taking this serious because something serious is happening. But, you know, the sense I got, it seemed a bit disingenuous. They talked around it a lot. They, you know, advertised their love of science fiction, but they didn't treat this, I would say, in the manner it deserved as a potential tactical threat if it's coming from a foreign power. And I get it, though. At the same day, they have very specific objectives within the DoD, right? They have a very important job. Their job isn't necessarily to do exploratory science for no reason. So I applaud and I encourage their efforts on the intelligence side to help understand this. But my concern is that they play a role they're not well suited for, which is doing science.
And the Pentagon is opening you off.
Yeah, so it's he's saying that they're not suited for it. Hello, Mr. Frank.
These guys, I'm sorry, I was muted. I apologize.
Yeah.
So these guys, what he's basically saying, he can't come out and say it because he's still active duty, or you know, and these guys find it difficult to say anything directly negative.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's his way of saying these fuckers are messing around and they're not doing what we asked them to do.
Yeah.
Did he, in that interview, did he describe his particular encounter?
I didn't get to that part.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to that part. He did talk about, I think he was involved. I don't know if he was involved. Oh, no. He described the whole thing of the the gimbal UFO. I think that he was involved in that. Oh my God. Excuse me. So he spoke about, so I actually watched the gimbal. I went to watch that clip, and they were talking about how there's like a whole fleet of these guys, even though they show one of them on the video.
Right.
These guys are saying there's a whole fleet of these guys.
Yeah, there's a whole fleet of these things on the ASA.
Yeah.
Like I said.
So what the heck?
Exactly. But the analysis of the video, even that one video itself, that should be, you guys don't understand that is the Marshmallow Man. That should be the Marshmallow Man. Okay? If anybody had the slightest bit of familiarity with physics and understanding why what you're seeing can't be.
So here's my question, man. Now let's kind of bring it together. We spoke to Rabbi Weisberg. We heard from other people about this whole, 2027, 28, 29, 30. Why would this thing wait?
Why would it wait?
Yeah, why would we have to wait for the world? If you're talking about that this thing is connected to Mashiach, it could be, right? Let's just assume that it is. Why would it make the world wait, or why would the world wait to acknowledge it? Or why do we need a wait? Let's put it that way. In either direction. To acknowledge it, why wait another, I don't know, 5 years or...
You're not going to hear me arguing that we need to wait.
I know we don't need to. No, what I mean is why...
To answer your question...
Why would we be forced to wait?
That I don't know.
Okay.
And I hate it. That's all I can say. I don't know, and I hate it. And the annoying response you're going to hear, which is correct from rabbis, it's annoying, but it's correct. It's all, it's on God's schedule. Like that's supposed to make me feel better.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So that's, I don't know why. It might not have to be that long. It may not have to be. Okay, it could be sooner. It could be. I'll take anything, any amount of time sooner.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think one thing that to make it go faster, right, is to create an awareness of it, and also to create a situation where, and I'm speaking about this right now from the Jewish angle.
Yeah.
And the Jews are like a tuning fork stuck in the ground.
Yeah.
Right, and it'll reverberate across the world.
Yep.
It's funny though, like so far it seems like the world is the tuning fork and the Jews are the ones who are waiting for for it to kind of, in this particular case, it seems like we're like behind.
No, we're not behind. We're just like afraid. We're afraid of being seen, being judged, being this, being that.
What's funny is that we actually have the most accurate information,
of course,
as to how to frame this and understand what's occurring.
Yeah.
Except nobody looks at it. Okay. So what we have to do,
including the Jews themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Non-Jews don't even know that, that such a thing exists. The truth is most Jews don't even know that we have information about this. It's just like literally Bart Sadok and Ari Kaplan, the only two rabbis ever who tried to talk about this with the Jewish people.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's not good. So we have to force this somehow upon the rabbis. How do we do that?
Yeah.
You hear Rafi crying?
A little bit, not too much.
Okay, all right. How do we do that? We have to somehow keep talking about this and make it more, we have to essentially get a lot of Jewish people to hear this, religious Jewish people to hear this, these questions, these ideas. And then at some point, demand answers from the rabbis. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, we have to create a situation where they can't run away from it anymore. And once they start talking about it, especially the big internet voices, okay, Manis Friedman, even Rabbi Kessin, he has to get caught up on a lot of this information.
Yeah,
right?
he's totally.
Judging from our last,
Rabbi Kessin is stuck in the whole like.
He's, the last thing he heard about anything was from Ari Kaplan.
He's a little bit. I think he's stuck in the 70s. Yeah.
In the 80s, a little early 80s. in terms of the UFO stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, it's you know, it's been a niche topic, and an embarrassing one. Like I was embarrassed. I remember before I had to write this paper for school in 2010.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'd hear like somebody, like I didn't have many friends that would talk about it.
Yeah.
But it would be embarrassing, like to hear like somebody's nerdy friend, you know, like take it seriously. I'm like, oof, poor guy, you know, what a nebuch. You know what I mean? And so you have to understand that kind of still exists. That you know that stigma, I suppose. Okay, but anyway, we got to create a situation where they have to address it.
Yeah.
And if they start talking about it, and if this information like starts to make its rounds within the religious Jewish community, I think that'll drastically accelerate things.
Yeah.
So if we're allowed to have this influence, at least in this one respect, right, to the point where, you know, like Manus Friedman, people like that, they're not going to be able to not talk about it.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Then they're going to find. Then basically, we're going to make Bar Tzadok famous by indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like he definitely has something, even though like I disagree with a lot of what he says.
Yeah.
But he had the foresight to start talking about this before anybody.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
By the way, man, just to switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
2 days into Israel's SMACS campaign for babies and toddlers, only 376 appointments were made out of 780,000 eligible babies and toddlers.
That's still terrifying.
Yes, but since they're not buying this BS anymore. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, what does that show us? At least there's going to be a next generation of Jews in Israel.
Baruch Hashem.
But let's hope that they're not going to be. In order for them to not be a generation of orphans, we need a miracle.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. We need a miracle, and we need not only orphans, but it has to be a generation that wakes up, a generation that doesn't fall prey to something else.
Yeah.
Something new. Yeah. I don't know. I really hope. Listen, all these people, at least the adults, are writing, you know, I was willing to be an experimental case for my country, but I will not let you do this to my kid. They even said that. They admitted they were willing to be an experimental case for their country, for their land.
I don't understand that itself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I wanted to ask that when we were having the conversation with Mrs. Weissman.
Yeah.
Why?
Why
are people willing to be a test case for the government? Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that something? Is this like a figure of speech, or is that like a real viewpoint, a real motivation that people had? I'm guessing it's probably more of a figure of speech.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be, but people are not going for this kids thing. I can tell you that much. And no, it's just like I don't know. If people at least have some modicum of logic, they think to themselves, a kid has infinitesimal. Dude, I'll tell you something, man. There was somebody I went out with a few years ago. She's married now, and she told me she was gonna give us to her kid. And I said, Baruch Hashem, that I didn't continue with this person. I felt something was off at that time for other reasons. But I was like, wow, my judgment is good. Huh.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There is something else I wanted to talk about to change gears.
Yeah.
Back to, weird science, but generally that era, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny to me how that movie has a couple of things that couldn't exist now.
Yeah.
So it has Anthony Michael Hall, right, where he's doing a black guy routine that he based on Richard Pryor, right? He would watch Richard Pryor. You're the one who told me about this, right?
Yeah.
Mudbone, he based that. No, that wasn't you. That was somebody. Doesn't matter. There's a scene where Kelly LeBrock takes the boys to this like seedy blues club in Chicago, right? Like really kind of like, and you know, it's full of like, you know, drunk middle-aged guys. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Criminal. There's a criminal element there. If you can imagine that setting, and you find these like two white teenage boys from the rich suburbs.
Yeah.
And they're very nervous. And then you know, you have all these guys looking at them, you know, just kind of like staring at them, like, and they get all nervous and they're like, you know, hi, you know, they're being all awkward. And then they try to talk. And then I think Anthony Michael Hall says something like, you know, this blues music really, I can relate to it with my teenage problems. Right?
Yes.
And then one of these like middle-aged black dudes, he's like, he pours him a shot, and he goes, oh sir, I really wouldn't rock. He goes, drink it, right? And it wasn't an option, right?
Yeah.
So he drank it. Then the next scene, like, you know, fast forward, Anthony Michael Hall is wearing like a pimp hat, and he's doing a perfect impression of like a Mudbone type character.
Yeah.
Right, that you might hear from, but not really. It's not Mudbone, because Mudbone was like an old guy. You know, he's basically like an old hobo.
Yeah. Hold on a second, man. Well, give me 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. I apologize. It's a 9 days now, so my father wanted me to get pizza, but I don't eat pizza, so he can go get pizza if he wants. Anyway.
Gotcha. So Richard Pryor's character Mudbone is more of like an old dude. So this character that Anthony Michael Hall was doing was kind of like that. It was inspired by it, let's say, not based on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he did it incredibly well. You
Yeah.
know, like you everybody's heard like some middle-aged black dude that sounds exactly like that. It was absolutely uncanny. It was stunning, actually.
Yeah.
How good his impression was.
Yeah.
And then so what makes that scene so good is not just Anthony Michael Hall's impression, but all the awesome guys that were around him reacting to him in that scene.
Yeah.
Can you play that scene? I'm like, just
Weird Science.
Yeah. By the way, the guy sitting next to him is the legendary Fats Domino.
Yeah, it's crazy. Gary's Blues, it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, stupid ad. God.
Actually, no, not Fat. I'm sorry, that's not Fats Domino. What the hell am I talking about? That wasn't Fats Domino.
I'll tell you who it is. Oh, it doesn't say on the here.
My own trials and tribulations as a young guy, and you know, my folks, they really dump on me. They really do. I say, you guys get along with your parents? I guess you guys moved out by now, though, huh? What's this, sir?
Drink it.
Well, that's a very sweet thought of both of you gentlemen, but I really don't. Until now. You guys in the emergency room, huh?
The guy sitting next to him, by the way, is, you know who? The black guy. He's in all these karate movies.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, the That guy is awesome.
Steve James.
Yes, that guy.
Steve James is sitting next to him. Yeah. And you know
that guy. I love that guy.
And who else was in the? Yeah, you don't know. It's like here. I'm looking at the cast. I'm trying to figure out who these guys are.
I'm looking at the cast too. Hang on.
Doesn't really say. Bar patron. Yeah, it's all like these nameless guys, faceless guys. Whatever. Yeah, but it's Steve James.
Tell me something. What's a beautiful bride like you doing with a malaka like this?
Malaka.
No shit.
She's into malakas, you know.
She's into malakas.
You can say that again.
Larry.
Here it comes.
Yeah, this is it.
Fast man. Let me tell you my story, man. Last year, I was insane for this crazy little 8th grade bitch.
Insane?
He's like insane. Wait, stop it.
Yeah.
Here's the point. So he's doing, he's like a kid, and he's drunk. He's doing that impression, and then he's telling the story, and then the other guys are like, they're reacting to him, and they're taking him. They're making it seem like they're taking him seriously because he's a kid and he's cute, right? To them, you know what I mean? And it's the way they're so nice to him.
Yeah.
That's what makes this work, because they're a bunch of like middle-aged dudes who are just trying to like, humor a kid, who wants to like be one of them. He notices that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Believe me, I'm telling the truth here. I'm speaking to you. I mean, I was nuts for the girl. And what did it to me was the big titty she had. For a 13-year-old girl, man, she wouldn't have to worry about life. Well, she was set and she was looking good, son. That's the truth, baby. I called every night for like a month. I mean, I'm talking devotion, man.
Every damn night?
Every night, Mitch. I ain't playing with you.
On the telephone?
This is amazing impression, and no kid today would be, even if he could do that, he's capable of that, would be allowed to do it in a movie.
Right. No, but the only reason this works
is
not the only reason, but the main reason it works is because the adults are being so nice to this kid.
No, correct. But I'm talking about the actual production of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's yeah.
People are talking about on the telephone.
But I think that she minded.
Rewind it like a couple of seconds, because that's the best part.
I think that I think the woman zapped these guys so that they listen.
Really, I don't know. It could be, I guess. I
capable of that.
I don't want to think that, because that kind of ruins the scene.
That does, yeah. But still, it's very funny.
I'm talking devotion, man.
Every damn night?
Every night, Mitch. I ain't playing with you.
On the telephone?
People are talking about on the telephone, man.
It's
goddamn, we know there's a telephone. What the hell are you doing? But he hung up on her.
Oh, you didn't hang up on her. The chick with those big titties?
Man, now here's the capper. You know what the bitch did to me?
Look at him.
Check this shit out. Listen to what she did to me. She hit you in the nuts. I'm called him faggot in front of everybody.
You did what? Bitch needs your nuts?
Bitch need my nuts, bitch. I'm not playing with you either, man.
In the family jewel?
Family jewel, man. First parents. Broke my heart too.
Broke more than your heart.
Yeah.
Broke more than your heart.
You can forget that other one. You got this fine.
Yo, the way he said, yeah, that's right. Like.
Yeah, and he's like, forget that other one. You got this fine.
yeah. No, but before, remember, he goes on the he goes, and then the guy, one of the adults in the background, he's like, on the telephone. I think it was that guy that you were talking about.
Yeah.
The one from the action movies.
Yeah, he played. I'll tell you where he played. He played an American Warrior or Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
To Live and Die in L.A., Delta Force. Prisoner of War Escape, I don't know what it is. And then Avenging Force, all these like action. American Ninja 2.
Right, but he was the one who said on the telephone, and then that's when Gary turns to the to the old black guy sitting next to him. And he's like, what's this boy talking about on the telephone? And he's like, they will explain it to him. He's like, explain it to him.
Dude, he played in Johnny Be Good. He played in American Ninja. All the American Ninja movies he played, the same guy, Curtis Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson. And then, dude, he passed away in 93, actually, this guy. At 40.
I remember, like, when I was, like, a little kid, I saw that. I saw one of the movies that he was in.
Yeah.
And in those movies, like, you know, his ninja weapon was this kind of like Chinese sword type thing.
Yeah.
Right. And he's always carrying one. And then there's this like one scene where you see the one that he's carrying, it's like magically like turns into two.
Yeah.
And somehow that was like one of the coolest things I ever seen when I was a kid.
He was like supposed to be the next, you know, the guy that played Apollo Creed. He was supposed to be the next that. I always thought.
Yeah, his career, like, I don't think it went much further, but
no, he passed away. He passed away at the age of 41, 1993. He passed away.
Oh shit, in 93. Oh man.
Yeah. He passed away because of pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And his funeral service was delivered by Sidney Poitier. Wow. Unbelievable.
Damn, that's kind of depressing.
That's like,
I really like that guy. He was actually, he was so smiley. You know, he was an important part of that scene that we just like listening to.
Here, I want to play the end. He's busting his ass. She looks so amazing in that scene, by the way. She's wearing this like purple dress.
Which brings me to the next point. That's impossible nowadays.
I know.
Kelly LeBrock was, I think, in her mid-20s at least.
Yeah, she was 25 in that movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They were like 16.
And they were literally 16, not just in the movie, but in reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And she makes out with them.
Yeah.
In this movie, and there's suggestive acting about her having sex with them.
Crazy.
Okay. Like basically what I'm saying is there's one like towards the beginning of the movie, right after they create her, she tries to she makes out with Wyatt, the other kid. Right. And then, you know, there's this implication of her going to have sex with him soon and doing some kind of gymnastics routine.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, you know, she's the one that coined the phrase in the commercial, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful," the Pantene commercial.
Yeah.
1989. She's coined that phrase. Well, not she, but like.
I don't think anyone could hate her.
Amazing.
I don't even know. I don't think chicks could hate her. No. She's very charming.
Okay? Her first movie before this movie, this was her second movie. Before this one, she played the woman in red with Gene Wilder.
Yeah, right. He was trying to cheat with her. Yeah, that was. She was weird in that movie. That was a weird movie anyway. That was I watched it recently, and as a kid I remember it like being funny, but it really is not that funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you watch that movie, you can understand how a lot of these liberals, where these liberals are coming from.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everybody's cheating on everyone.
Yep.
Okay. And the whole movie, by the way, just with Gene Wilder. So the whole movie really is about him. That's the main. Is he wants to cheat with the Kelly LeBrock's character, and he feels bad about it. He doesn't want his wife to find out. He ends up not getting the chance to do it. But then in the end, we realize his wife was cheating on him the whole time. Everybody's cheating on everybody.
Yeah.
You know? And then Charles Grodin played a gay dude. For some reason that was necessary for the plot. It wasn't necessary. It was just politics.
I think Charles Grodin was like the ultimate like beta male kind of guy. He played like these beta male characters.
No, I don't. Not always. Not always. You know,
a little bit neurotic.
A little bit neurotic. Dude, Charles Grodin is hilarious.
Dude, he passed away last year.
Yeah, I know. I actually knew that.
Terrible.
Yeah, he is. If I'm not 100% mistaken, he grew up in a frum home.
No.
Yeah.
Orthodox Jewish parents. What?
Yeah.
What?
He grew up frum, and yeah, but basically.
He was in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
I can't say that I've seen the majority of his movies, but I know that it has to be that Midnight Run is Well, at least in the 80s. Like,
Can I list the movie? Yeah, Rosemary's Baby, Catch 22, Heartbreak Kid, King Kong, 1976 version, Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah.
Real Life, I don't know what this was. A lot of these 70s movies I never saw. The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
I think he's a stand-up, by the way.
Was he a stand-up comic?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he do stand-up comedy?
I know he's a comic actor, but I know that stand-up comedians like worship him.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Grodin had two children, his daughter Mary and a comedian. And that's about it. They worship him, really?
They worship him and Albert Brooks.
Check this out. His maternal grandfather was an immigrant from Russia who came from a long line of rabbis and moved to Baltimore at the turn of the 20th century. Grodin had an older brother named Jack. Wow, it's crazy, bro. Yeah. He also played in Midnight Run. Yeah, Woman in Red.
Actually, you know what? I want to say one thing for Woman in Red, that movie that we're talking about with Kelly LeBrock.
Yeah.
There was one funny character. It was Joseph Bologna. You know that actor? Joseph Bologna. Look him up.
In Oh, this guy. Yeah.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
He passed away in 2017.
God damn it.
He's from Brooklyn.
Dude, we are orphaned.
That's right. Yeah, this guy played in what did he play in? The woman, yeah, also Woman in Red.
His character was the only funny character in that movie.
What he played in like different things, but like he
played in so many movies, dude.
Dude, do you remember? Okay, so Charles Grodin. Remember this movie called Clifford with Martin Short? Charles
Yeah.
Dude,
Sure.
this movie is a slapstick black comedy. Dude, this movie was it was 1994.
It was psychotic.
My God, like 2050, an old priest named Father Clifford Daniels catches a boy named Roger planning to run away after not being allowed to play the basketball team. He persuades him to change his ways by telling him a story of his own youth.
Dude, no wonder I like Joseph Bologna. He's from Brooklyn. He's an Italian guy from Brooklyn. He's so familiar to me as a personality.
Yes. Dude, but this Clifford movie, I remember watching it. I was like, what is this? It's just odd. Strange.
You know what? I think with Charles Grodin, his biggest box office thing was Beethoven. Remember Beethoven?
Yes, that's what I remember him from.
Yeah, that's what most people remember him from. Yeah.
Beethoven, and then they had the second one, and then
that was his big franchise.
Yeah. It was he was also in So I Married an Axe Murderer with
Yeah, he had a small role, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He was like the taxi driver.
Yeah.
He's driving around. Was it Vincent LaPaglia? That actor. Remember his Mike Myers' friend.
Yes. Yeah.
And I can't remember what his first name is.
Anthony LaPaglia.
Anthony LaPaglia. Right.
Yeah.
He's actually an Italian guy from Australia. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Australian accent. It's really weird.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of Italians in Australia, actually, believe it or not.
No, there is, but he played a lot of like American Italian characters.
Yeah. Because he has that look.
He has a look. And also, when I saw him in all these movies, I'm like, he looks Italian. Everything makes sense, but there's something off. There's something. Even as a kid, I knew there was something off. It's like he's Australian.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
He almost looks like a mix of an Italian and a British guy.
well, I guess you could
That's
say that.
basically Australian.
So I Married an Axe Murderer. He is rushing. He finds out that Mike Myers' fiance or his wife is an axe murderer, and he wants to go save him. So he's flying. He's rushing to save him.
Yeah.
So he has to take a plane, and then when he finally gets to the place, by the way, the pilot of the plane was Stephen Wright, and we'll get back to that.
And also, Phil Hartman is in this movie. All the SNL people. See, Phil Hartman
played
Alcatraz guide.
The Alcatraz tour guide. Yeah, Vicky. Yeah. So basically,
Alan Arkin played in this movie.
Yeah. So basically, when he got off the plane and he's rushing to the hotel where Mike Myers is staying with Nancy Travis, her name is, right? Great smokestack. So very, very pretty girl. And so Charles Grodin picks him up. He's the taxi driver, right?
Yeah.
So as he's driving him, and Anthony Paglia's character is very nervous. So he's like tapping on something, right? And he goes, "Could you please stop that?" And he goes, "This bothers you?" He goes, "No, it's one of my favorite things." He's like the way he said it.
Yes.
You should play that. Find that scene. So I married an axe murderer, Charles Grodin, just for the folks at home. I just realized a lot of people that are listening to this, or the 5 people that are listening to this, may not be familiar.
Yeah. Here. There you go.
Excuse me, sir. I'm with the San Francisco Police Department. This is official police business. I would like to commandeer this vehicle. No. What do you mean, no?
Dude, play it again. You're laughing, screwed it all up. Can you hear him?
Excuse me, sir. I'm with the San Francisco Police Department. This is official police business. I would like to commandeer this vehicle. No. What do you mean, no?
I happen to know for a fact that you don't have the right to commandeer my vehicle.
Please, can I commandeer this vehicle? No. Just not gonna bend on this commandeering thing, are you? No. Would you mind not doing that? This bothers you? No, it's one of my favorite things.
Dude, the looks he gives with the eyes, like back and forth.
That's Charles Grodin.
I know.
That's his thing, man.
Oh, here, Alcatraz through Vicky's eyes. Let's play this with what's his name?
Yeah.
Hartman. He's also. I'm telling you, these people are like the nuances of the face and
There's
this.
no one like him.
Yeah.
Unique, absolutely. Huge loss.
Yeah.
Good. My name is John Johnson, but everyone here calls me Vicky. Will you please follow me?
I love Vicky. He's great. He's the best.
This is the main cell block area. Home to such famous criminals as Al Capone, Mickey Cohen, Joseph Dutch Fritzer, and Robert Stroud, the famous Birdman of Alcatraz.
You know, Tony, this time it's going to be different.
What a voice.
If something strange happens, I'm just going to let it go. It's not my business. For example, Ralph. She says Ralph in her sleep. So what?
Ralph.
This is the cell for solitary confinement that over the years had come to be known as Times Square. Make sure everyone gets a look.
So who's Ralph?
I don't know who Ralph is. And more importantly, I don't want to know.
That's good. So you and Harry had your own last night?
All right, dirtbag. All you have to know is that Harry is a sweet, kind, and loving person.
Well, that's good. That's nice.
And yes, we did.
All right.
Close it up. Close it up. Close it up.
Now, this is something the other tour guides won't tell you. In this particular cell block, Machine Gun Kelly had what we call in the prison system a bitch. One night, in jealous rage, Kelly took a makeshift knife or shiv and cut out the bitch's eyes.
Hey, you know, another thing about Harry I love.
Yeah, he screwed up big time.
And as if this wasn't.
Wait, stop it for a moment. Stop it.
The expression when he continued.
Yeah, no, for the folks at home, while he was describing, while Phil Hartman's character was describing this horrible fact that the other tour guides won't tell the group, Mike Myers stupidly continues this conversation with his friend, and then the tour guide Phil Hartman gives him this look like I'm gonna kill you, basically, like how dare you, know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And his friend is like, shh, come.
It's not I'm gonna kill you. It's almost like contempt. It's like
right. It's like utmost contempt. Like how dare you exist while I speak?
Yeah. Hold on.
And as if this wasn't enough retribution for Kelly, the next day he and 4 other inmates took turns pissing into the bitch's ocular cavities.
He looks excited about it.
This way to the cafeteria.
He looks very excited about that.
That's the gag. That's the gag. He tells the most disgusting story possible, and then it's like lunchtime. You know? Crazy movie.
Oh my goodness! I just love man.
Heat, paper, no.
Here, let's for the folks at home. We're gonna play the.
You're gonna play the father. Oh, you're gonna play.
Oh, the poetry.
Dude, his poetry things are awesome.
Yes, here you go. Man, whoa, man.
Whoa, man.
Yes. You make me horny.
Saturday morning.
Cartoons. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
No.
I broke up with those girls for very good reasons. Oh, really? Yes.
Really?
Hold on. This
What
is just the
about you?
beginning of the thing.
She was in the.
Charlie McKenzie.
Woman! Whoa, man! Whoa, man! She was a thief, you gotta believe. She stole my heart and my cat. Betty, Judy, Josie, and those hot pussycats. They make me horny. Saturday morning. Girls of cartoons.
Girls of cartoons.
Me in ruins. I want to be Betty's Barney. Hey, Jane, get me off this crazy thing.
Oh, love.
It sounds like Linda Richmond when he's doing it.
Yeah. I'd rather listen to that
Yes.
on a loop than anything that's heard on the radio now.
Yes.
The radio.
Why is he talking about like girls of cartoon, like hot smokestacks of cartoons?
I think, well, first he was talking about this girl that he broke up with who apparently stole his hat.
Mm-hmm.
And
his cat.
Oh, that was his cat. What was
Cat.
the other thing
He stole my cat.
Whatever.
He stole my heart and my cat.
His heart and his cat.
Yeah.
Okay. So then he realized that he'd rather just, have a relationship with the girls in the cartoons.
Mhm.
Josie and the Pussycat.
Yeah. Can I play you the part where it's like the Scottish guy?
His father.
Yeah, his father, Rod Stewart with bagpipes.
Right. Oh no, not the one where he is where he's performing. Like, can you just like play the part where he comes to visit?
Oh, he's like talking to. Yeah.
He's like, heat, paper, no.
Yeah, I hated the Colonel. This one.
Yeah, his wee beady eyes.
Yeah. Scottish. He's from Scotland. This is basically the character who like Fat Bastard is based on, just like he's not fat.
Yeah, I mean that is Mike. You realize that's Mike Myers too, right?
I know. I'm just saying that the accent is what
Yeah.
Well, in here, son.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Willie. How's it going? All right. Give your mother a kiss and I'll kick your teeth in.
Hey, did you happen to see the most beautiful?
Hey, shut it!
If you did.
How you doing, Dad? I'm doing fine.
Come on, Charlie.
All right, away and go with your mother, all right? And while you're there, why don't you try one of her bras on you, wee girl? Float away, you fairy!
You guys are haggis.
Haggis.
That's sweet of you,
Haggis.
son.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I haven't seen one of these for years. Years. Actually, I hate them. But your father will happily. Look at him.
Ugh.
He's giving Toriola Lyndon H. LaRouche rubbish again.
Stop it. Dude, we have to, you heard what she said? Lyndon H. LaRouche.
Yeah.
We're going to have a conversation about who that is one of these days. Continue.
Okay, hold on. And Lyndon H. LaRouche was a Political activist who founded LaRouche movement. Oh yeah, this guy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Socialist and Marxist movements. Uh-huh.
Fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world known as the Pentaveret, who run everything
there you go.
in the world,
Yeah, that's what the show is based on.
Wow.
including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up. I hated the Colonel with his wee beady eyes and that smug look on his face. Oh, you're gonna buy my chicken. Oh, then how can you hate the Colonel? Because he puts an addictive chemical in his chicken that makes you crave it fortnightly. Smart arse.
That's right.
Interesting. Cuckoo.
Charlie, would you like a juice?
See, that's the psyop. There you go.
Yep.
He just psyoped us.
That was the end of the scene?
Hold on.
The best part's coming up.
Yeah.
By the way, the best part is when Anthony LaPaglia's character is cracking up.
Yeah.
That was completely ad-lib.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just play the end of this.
I brought myself a juice tiger.
A juice tiger.
A juice tiger. Just everything now.
Oh, that's it. Juice Tiger.
Damn, man.
Here, so this LaRouche guy.
How about this? Wait. Before we get to LaRouche, I didn't go. Just type in heed paper now. Heed, H-E-A-D.
Here, thanks. Heed. This. Okay.
Heed paper now.
Yeah.
Bring in the paper.
All right, head. Heed. Paper, no!
Head.
Move that melon of yours and get the paper if you can. Pulling that gargantuan cranium about. I'm
Yes.
thinking that boy's head's like Sputnik. Spherical, but quite pointy in parts. Well, that was offside, wasn't it? He'll be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
Dying of laughter. Who's this kid? This kid is the kid that plays this part.
I've seen him in other stuff too.
Yeah.
He's a white kid with really frizzy red hair.
Yeah.
Right. Which is he was wearing like an afro basically.
His name is Matt Doherty. Heed. Matt Doherty.
Matt Doherty. He's an Irish looking kid with frizzy.
He was in Mighty Ducks trilogy. He played Avery.
That's right. But
he's like Irish, whatever. He's from Harvey, Illinois.
I saw I think one of the comments in one of these YouTube videos, he was saying like I went to school with this kid, went to college with him. Every time he walked down the street, somebody's yelling, "Heed!"
That's very funny.
Yeah.
So Lyndon LaRouche, huh?
Lyndon H. LaRouche. I'm not putting Tiberius in that guy's name.
No. American political activist who founded the LaRouche movement. Sympathetic to socialist and Marxist movements and ideals in his 20s during World War II, and by the 60s became engaged in increasingly smaller, more radical splinter groups. During the 70s, he created the foundation of the LaRouche movement and became more engaged in conspiratorial beliefs and violent and or illegal activities. In 1986, his movement reached its height in electoral success when LaRouche candidates won several Democratic primaries for state office in Illinois. The defeated mainstream Democratic candidates ran in the general election as members of the Illinois Solidarity Party. The LaRoucheite Democrats all finished a distant third. Later in the 80s, criminal investigations led to convictions of several LaRouche movement members, including LaRouche himself. He was sentenced to 15 years, but served only 5. He was a perennial candidate for the President of the United States. He ran in every election from 1974 to 2004 as a candidate of third parties established by members of his movement. He also tried to gain the Democratic presidential nomination. In 96, he got 5% of the total nationwide vote in Democratic primaries. In 2000, he received enough primary votes to qualify for delegates in some states, but ultimately was refused by those delegates at the convention. Here, let's see. His parents were from Canada and Scotland. His parents became Quakers after his father converted from Catholicism. They forbade him from fighting with other children, even in self-defense, which he said led to years of hell from bullies at school. As a result, he spends much of his time alone, taking long walks through the woods and identifying in his mind with great philosophers. He wrote that between the ages of 12 and 14, he read philosophy extensively, embracing the ideas of Leibniz and rejecting those of Hume, Bacon, Hobbes, Locke, Berkeley, Rousseau.
I want you to stop. I want you to stop. You know why?
Why?
Because this is not. There's so much
Yeah.
that we have to talk about LaRouche.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste it. You know what I mean?
Fine.
Basically, the people who took over this country,
Mm-hmm.
they certainly fit the description of LaRouche's followers.
Yeah. Correct. They're basically the squad, what we call today the squad, or the wokies, or the.
Yeah. By the way, LaRouche was the first guy that I think he was the first one to say, "I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionist."
Hold on.
I think he was the first one. I think he made that.
Yeah, he said. He said 9/11 was an inside job. He believed in a lot of this kind of whatever, truther stuff. He said. An attempted coup d'etat, and that Iran was the first country to question it. The article received wide coverage in Iran and was cited by senior Iranian government officials, including Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani and Hassan Rouhani. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, not Ahmadinejad, wrote that in a subsequent telephone interview with the Voice of Islamic Republic of Iran, LaRouche said the attacks have been organized by rogue elements inside the U.S., aiming to use the incident to promote a war against Islam, and that Israel was a dictatorial regime prepared to commit Nazi-style crimes against the Palestinians. No.
He died in 2019?
Yeah.
What? I thought he was dead in the 80s.
Yeah, same. Not in the 80s, but I thought he was dead. No, he ran in 2004. How come he did in the 80s?
He did? Oh my God.
I just said he was 96 years old. My God. Here. Israel. No, I don't know. I didn't know that he was the guy that came up with that whole. Yeah, see, this is
He was the first. I think he was the first one.
Well, check this out. This is interesting. In Architects of Fear, 1983, Johnson. I don't know who's Johnson. I guess some director. George Johnson compares LaRouche's view to an Illuminati conspiracy theory. Johnson writes that after he wrote about LaRouche in the Minneapolis Star, LaRouche's followers denounced him as part of a conspiracy of elitists that began in ancient Egypt. However, according to LaRouche, Aristotelians are not necessarily in communication or coordination with one another. From their standpoint, they are proceeding by instinct. If you're asking how their policy is developed, if there's an inside group sitting down and making plans, no, it doesn't work that way. History doesn't function quite that consciously. Interesting. Yeah,
that's what he said?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, the designation's conspiracy theorist. Oh, here you go. Allegations of anti-Semitism. Here we go. Okay. Yeah.
By the way, allegations of anti-Semitism.
Listen.
Section on Wikipedia, not necessarily accurate.
Yeah. But listen. Well, I want to read what it says. LaRouche and his ideas have been called anti-Semitic since at least the mid-70s by dozens of individuals and organizations and countries across Europe. Beginning in the 70s, allegations began to appear that saying LaRouche had fascist and anti-Semitic tendencies. In 1977, LaRouche married his second wife, Helga Zepper LaRouche, a German 26 years younger than himself. In her 1984 book, The Hitler Book, argues that we need a movement that can finally free Germany from the control of the Versailles and Yalta treaties, thanks to which we have staggered from one catastrophe to another for an entire century. Helga founded the Schiller Institute, which has been accused of anti-Semitism by the Berliner Zeitung and Political Research Associates, a non-profit research group which studies right-wing white supremacists and militia groups. LaRouche claimed that he was anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic. When the Anti-Defamation League accused LaRouche of anti-Semitism in 1979, he filed a $26 million libel suit. However, the case failed when Justice Michael Donson of the New York Supreme Court ruled that it was a fair comment and that the facts reasonably give rise to that description. LaRouche started a campaign against ADL and set up a group called Provisional Committee to Clean Up B'nai B'rith. LaRouche said in 1986 that description of him as neo-fascist or anti-Semite stemmed from the drug lobby or the Soviet operation, which is sometimes the same thing.
Might be true.
Yeah. In 2006, wrote that religious and racial hatred, such as anti-Semitism or hatred against Islam or hatred of Christians, is on record of known history, the most evil expression of criminality to be seen on the planet today. Anthony Lerman wrote in 1988 that LaRouche used the British as a code word for Jews, a theory also propounded by Dennis King, author of Lyndon LaRouche and the New American Fascism, 1989. George Johnson argued that King's presentation failed to take into account that several members of LaRouche's inner circle were themselves Jewish. Daniel Pipes wrote in 1997 that LaRouche's references to the British really were to the British. Pipes, by the way, is a right-wing guy who's against Islam. He's a Jewish guy. Though he agreed that an alleged British-Jewish alliance lay at the heart of LaRouche's conspiracism. It was reported in 1989 that many members of LaRouche's inner circle were Jewish. As of 2016, Jewish Virtual Library states that the international organization run by Lyndon LaRouche is a major source of such masked anti-Semitic theories globally. In the US, the LaRouches spread those conspiracy theories in an alliance with aides to Minister Farrakhan of Nation of Islam, by the way, who was anti-Shmaks. A series of LaRoucheite pamphlet calls a neoconservative movement the children of Satan. That's, because it's Jews, former liberals, deep state, which links Jewish neoconservatives to the historic rhetoric of blood libel. Dude, they are Erev Rav. The neocons. They are Erev Rav. So again, not incorrect. It seems like he was, if anything, the original alt-right guy, sort of, except he's a socialist as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's so mixed up here.
It's like a walking of everything that's today. He's a walking AOC with Steve Bannon put together.
Yeah. Just if you see Steve Bannon, he has nothing to do with Steve Bannon. Not even forget it, man.
Yeah.
No way.
Interesting.
Steve Bannon is just basically a nationalist.
Yeah.
But he's not an ethnic nationalist.
Yeah.
Nationalism is only okay in America, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the only country that's not based on ethnicity.
Yeah. Yeah. For states. But even so, people deride it. So,
dude, why can't I find the name of that famous musician that sat next to Anthony Michael Hall in that scene that he was playing?
He's talking about Fats Domino?
Is that Fats Domino?
I know, he called him Fats.
I know, but Fats was a common thing. It's like you had Fats, this guy, Fats. It was just like anybody who was chubby, right?
But he wasn't
had the nickname named Fats.
But he wasn't fat.
He was a chubby dude.
I know not.
Damn. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna type this. Fats Domino Weird Science. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. A wild Hail Mary attempt to find out. Fats Domino Weird. Fats Domino Weird Science. All right. Let's see. IMBD. Let's see. Doesn't look like him at all because this guy had glasses. You know what? I'm gonna write this. Most famous blues artists. Famous blues artists. Let's see. All right, we got B.B. King, obviously. Okay. Can't believe Eric Clapton is considered. All right.
Considered what?
He is considered a famous blues artist.
Dude, no, he is. He is a famous blues artist. Clapton, man, he you know what happened with Clapton. I don't have to go.
Yeah, I can't even talk about it.
Schmecks. Disgusting.
Oh, that. No, I thought you were talking about.
No, he took the AstraZeneca, and then he had all kinds of issues. All kinds of issues.
Oh, man, I don't know.
No good. No good. Totally no good. What can we say?
I don't know. All right, I'll get back to you on.
Well, sir, it's been 2.5 hours. I think we should do a separate episode on this LaRouche thing.
We said a lot already, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, but we can get into it.
Summarize it.
Yeah.
It's a very, whatever's going on right now. It's like all the different parties within the left.
Yeah.
Which I include, by the way, the neo-Nazis and stuff like that. You know, like the Robert Spencers.
Yeah.
You know, like that. They're socialists. They're still socialists, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of like, you know, it's weird. He's a very weird character, but so many of the things that he was pushing for are literally happening.
Yeah, for sure. Of course.
Right.
Yes, sir.
This is a weird one, huh?
Yeah. No, it's not that weird. I mean, weird science. Oh, yeah. I see what I see what you did there.
See what I did there? All right.
Yes.
All right.
All right. It's been real. Deal, Holyfield.
Dude, we got to start making more clips. Like,
yeah, we will. We're gonna make a clip. I'm gonna make a clip out of this one for sure. And a few.
I think the Shekhinah clip did okay for a clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
How? By the way, how are we doing on Spotify? What is it? Spotify?
You know, it's something you have to really push because Spotify, it's tough. Here, Anchor. Let's log into this thing if I can. I just cleared my cookies, so I have to sign into these things again. It's kind of annoying. Let's see. Oh, shut it. Okay. Yeah. We could use way more hits.
What does that mean? How much?
Well, episode 26 is only 7 plays. 23 got like 16 hits.
Damn.
21 and 20 got 17, 18. The best one was we spoke about your brother, 177 hits. But that was, you know, people want to hear about that. They wanted to hear about that. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. We'll push more. Oops.
Gotta figure this out, man. I don't want to get
Rafi's gotta eat, man.
I don't want to get a real job.
Rafi's gotta eat.
Rafi's gotta eat. And he will. He will eat.
He will eat.
Because they will listen.
They will, if you build it, they will come.
Because we built it and they will come.
Yes. All right, sir.
Sayonara.
Peace out.